What is this black void? The paths just break off. Welcome, travelers of the internet, to Brighthelm Recording. This is your host, Master Barkle, and playing the Pillars of Eternity, where you've left off in Ter Evron. We've received the boon of Barath, and now we can go to the Burial Isle and descend into the pit. And by descending, we just take a flying leap, and hopefully Barath will save us. Durance wants to talk to us, however, first, so we shall do that.
What is it, Watcher?
Does what we learned about Wodika trouble you?
It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys, Widewind had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Wodika's plot before it began?
That's pretty deep.
Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos...
Durance tilts his head as if listening to an inner voice. Then he frowns, the frown deepening as he speaks.
Must we always be tools of gods? If Wodika and Margrin, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back...
Would have been better you had been spared this knowledge?
No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see, with a Watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children, and by the gods, the goddess of justice. If I could end her like Aethys, Margrin burned her once. One can do so again.
Okay.
Wodika, she must answer to her own justice.
Justice or revenge?
Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. If the world does not balance, we all drown in the oceans. And the gods would not care. Margrin, she must be redeemed. And punishing Wodika, that will serve.
Margrin was allied with Wodika. She tried to kill all the makers of the Godhammer.
Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
The others who made the Godhammer, they all died, didn't they? That's why I saw their symbols fade from your staff.
If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess, to be sure. But even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves.
You said you left Ashfall without telling anyone of your departure?
You answer a question with a question. Then why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed?
Because she tried to kill you there.
Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
In the dream of the Godhammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct, in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. Durance stares at you, his expression frozen, but he's silent, listening. If you had been damaged as I saw in the Godhammer vision, then she may be unable to see you as you once were. Durance turns from you for a moment. His face twists in thought, conflicting emotions running across his features. Finally, he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, then trust your staff. Admit that the other Godhammer builders are dead. Durance turns to the staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edges of the wood, the symbols inlaid there, the 11 faded circles.
They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended.
Yup. As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves, so much so it feels as if the Godhammer itself is alive in his hands. And past it, you hear a cry, like a child being born, and your eyes feel the flash of white, then 100 imagined shades of purple and white, screaming and circling into the howling of a storm, and beneath it the grinding of ancient machines of stone, rock, and metal, grinding and turning until all around you feel as if it's burning, sinking into the shadows of the earth, beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. When your vision clears, you see Durance, his hands clutching the staff, and his eyes are bright, burning red. Atop the staff, the flame burns cleanly, brightly. As his gaze burns, he rips his gaze away and howls, a bellowing, horrid howl like a wounded animal, and sweat pours down his brow. We can see that justice is served, to her and Wodika both.
To think I served her. I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Wodika's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire in war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me.
That's right.
For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.
Let's continue on. The Trials of Durance. Yeah, we got some liminal spaces. Good old back rooms back there. Okay. So let's head to the burial aisle.
This place is sacred ground, so watch where you step.
Alright, got it.
I remember when I was a girl, and the missionaries came and told us about the gods. They said we could see them in the stars.
Oh yeah?
I remember when I heard that, I snuck out at night and climbed the watchtower in the old fort because I wanted to see them better. That fort burned down a few years ago when we cast the missionaries out. It was the missionaries who set fire to it. They didn't want us to be able to use it. Shame. There was history in that fort.
That fort had outlived its use. It was a false sense of security. It was that, for me as much as anyone. Seeing it burn, it made me think. This is your home as much as it is mine. Do you worry about it? Our being here puts Kratom at risk. I wish I could say I thought otherwise, but hearing someone else say it helps settle some things in my mind.
I miscalculated many things since this began. I'm relieved you weren't one of them. It's a good thing we didn't hang you.
It's a good thing.
I always knew this path would have consequences, but I never wanted to see Kratom suffer on my behalf. I don't think I can stay here any longer. I am told the Inquisition is gathering an army, that they have sent messengers to bargain with rulers from distant lands. Kratom is not built to withstand a siege. If war is coming, I should be doing what Theos is doing. I will need allies. Allies in a stronghold that can resist an invading army.
You can feel words formed long ago rising in your throat like a toxic black bile. Have you thought about Oceanus?
Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders, and their king has no love of the Inquisition's faith. I wonder, would he listen?
Sounds like I was a terrible spy. They all went into me. So I'm guessing those are the souls I have to go and collect from, for Bareth before they descend. They're a little, I can't remember what they're called, but, this is how, like, some burials will go in, like, very wet places, particularly tribal, like, because they don't want to bury the bodies for, can't remember what reasons, but I've seen this in World of Warcraft, too, with the Turin. Okay. So we keep heading upstairs, it seems. Let's make sure we explore around. This is a burning room. Seems like a real confined space to be burning people. But maybe I'm just ignorant. What's over here? Okay. Is this something? You venture through a doorway into an underground tunnel. Staircase coils upwards, leading to a dim passage. On the upper level, light filters through the collapsed ceiling. A wall of piled stones and rubble blocks the way ahead. Let's examine that pile of rubble. It looks suspicious. To your observant eye, the mass looks dangerously unstable. The rocks appear to have held together through sheer chance. Moving even one could send the rest tumbling. Okay, well then let's leave that be. We might come back to it. Ooh. Inquithan Andraban Amulet of Might +3. Got some war paint out here too. Okay. Wow, people are just burning everywhere on this island, aren't they?
Not a problem.
It's a nice little balcony there. I think maybe that passage is just a shortcut. Maybe. Towering stone creature is cold and slimy with fungal growth. Its horns look sharp enough to saw through lumber. It does got quite the serrations, don't it?
Another turn, Inquisitor.
Theos signals some unseen attendant standing beside a large crank.
I ask again, Jovara Exensios, do you confess to these heresies of which you stand accused?
He waits, but Iovara only stares straight ahead, her face stony. The creak of her restraints the only sound.
Do you confess to apostasy?
Apostasy.
I confess to renouncing a mistake.
Ooh, she opens her mouth to speak, strands of thin spittle spanning from one lip to the other like a spider's threads.
Do you confess to conspiracy against the one true faith?
I confess to opening minds.
Do you confess to false prophecy?
I confess to following a false prophet.
Indeed. And where might we find this heretic?
She's gonna say you are.
He wears the robes of a Grand Inquisitor.
Ooh, got him.
You have no followers here, heretic. Your lies hold no sway in the court of the penitents.
Only my truth, then.
Another turn.
No! Wait! Wait! I'm ready. I'm ready.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
So defiant. Theos shakes his head and points at the Inquisitor, and the scraping grind of rusted gears echoes in your mind as the apparitions fade away. Daggone little troll.
When you get to the bottom, holler up here. Let me know if it's safe.
I mean, we could all just take the leap at once. But alright.
Ready when you are.
A great pit lies in the shadow of the statue of Wodaka. No light from the surface reaches the bottom, but even so, you catch flickers of a ghostly glow in the depths. A wind from the pit buffets you. It isn't cold, but it raises goose flesh along your arms. The wind carries a whisper, low and sibilant. As you look into the pit, souls gather round you. They encase you in a cloud of essence that swirls around your body while you consider your next move. Okay, so I feel like we probably got all of the souls. So let's jump in. You jump, trusting in the promises of the gods and the power of the souls to bear you safely down. The sudden drop takes your breath away, but the soul catches you, encasing you in a shining, thrumming aura. But while they slow your descent, you can still feel that you are falling faster than you should. The essence flowing around you is strong, but chaotic. You find yourself drifting toward the wall. Balagina falls with you for a moment, but seems oddly buoyant during her slow descent, feathers fluttering silently along her arms and the sides of her face. Suddenly, her golden eyes grow wide, and she shouts out, "Look out! The wall!" Just take control of the souls to guide myself to safety? I don't know if I can do that. Concentrating, you focus on the essence around you and knit it together in your mind. What was a jumble of souls becomes a single entity, coordinated and purposeful. It steers you to safety at the center of the pit. You manage to spread your arms and legs into an X, steadying your position and the rate of your descent. You reach the Court of the Penitents, millennia old, stones safely under your feet.
What seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star alone in the cosmos and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead.
So it shall be.
I think that statue of Woodica was watching us soil ourselves on the way down.
Everyone all right? No shattered knees? Good. Just me, then.
That was bracing.
Was indeed. Good thing Palagina could fly. Oh. Headgummit.
Something over there.
There's traps in here. Oh no. Failed to disarm the trap. Alright. You know what that means. Durance. Go get him. Ah!
And what does the flame reveal?
One more. Oh. Alrighty, everyone. We need help. The pillar tugs at your essence. Pulse from the world itself moves through it. It is kind of like...
Not a problem.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
Okay. So we got a passage to the right, center, and left. Okay, let's go left, I guess. Since we're here. Sol Adra Prison.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
Another pulsing vein of Adra.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
What is this black void? The paths just break off. Goodness gracious, what is over
A
there?
simple test. That's settled.
Is this some kind of lift or a throne? Maybe just a little font of magic? Another Sol Adra prison. Oh. Yuvara? A column of Adra rises before you, stoic and silent. Its rigid layers are a measuring stick for the passing of ages. It feels to you as a thick block of ice, and you perceive buried deep in its core a dim flickering flame, all but extinguished, yet preserved against the ravages of the elements. At your approach, the flame seems to steady and draw strength, and the layers separating it from you melt away, and you are bathed in its glow, a bright beacon in the gloom. The glow seems to fade as though you had adjusted to its intensity, and where it was, Yovora seeps into existence, an idolic shade hovering above the moist prison floor. Oh my goodness, they're throwing too many syllables at me. Though ageless, she appears somehow different to you now, a slight stoop to her carriage, perhaps, or a trace of sunkenness in her eyes. There is a broad scar across her face, fibrous and wormy where flames once lapped, unhealed even in death.
My old pupil. You are a welcome sight, but a worrying one as well. Do you still wander lost in the darkness after all these many years?
Is this Rollen talking, or is this the past pupil, I guess?
You are so different now from who you were then, yet much remains the same. Old troubles with a new face. What is it that has brought you here?
It would seem that I have unfinished business here.
I'd hoped after our last discussion you would find what you sought. Has it eluded you all this time? I can only guess your presence here has something to do with Theos. The energy of this place changes when he is near. I don't know what he has done, but I do know of the souls that pass through here now. They do not come by choice.
Theos diverted them from the cycle. He seeks to empower Woedica and to blame Animancy for the damage he's caused.
After all this time, he would still stand against the tide.
You knew me when Theos did. There's something I need to know about that time.
I will tell you what I remember.
There's something about that lifetime my soul can't let go of. I need to know what it is, and I'm running out of time. I see moments from that life, of you, of the Inquisition, of Theos.
I can see his influence, still hanging like a weight about your neck. So it always was. He had inspired something in you. We spoke of him the last time you were here also. It was just after the trial. You were agitated. I think because you started to consider that what I was teaching may have been true.
What was that? Yuvara's mouth tightens and her brow furrows, a look of pity. Her eyes shift back and forth between each of yours, as if looking for something that would help her decide whether to speak.
That the gods aren't real.
Pallegina throws her head back and laughs gleefully. Of course not. It all makes sense now.
She's not serious.
Perhaps not to her. Many are those whom the gods have scorned. This is petty retribution.
Nonsense! Clearly she has not been on the receiving end of a god's ire. She'd know how real the gods can be.
There's a theory puts my boldest to shame. But we ourselves have seen the gods' influence.
Yeah?
What I taught was that the gods whose faith we had been spreading were not gods at all, but something else entirely. Something created by people.
But isn't that how gods work? Who created these gods, and for what?
They were conceived by Engwyth, a society of high minds and broad concerns. Theos' people. In their time, every people worshipped its own gods. Sometimes they warred over it. After a few wars of their own, the Engwythans sought an end to it. They devoted all their energy to finding the true creators.
The true creators.
Generation after generation, they prodded and worked the stitching of the world and unlocked its secrets. One day, they found an answer. Except the answer was no answer at all. There were no gods to be found. Or if there ever were, they were gone. It shook them, this finding. If they could discover this on their own, how long until others would? How long before war and chaos reigned over a world without consequence? But they had mastered many things in their pursuit of these answers. And with their mastery, they crafted their own gods to fill the void, and sent missionaries to the corners of the world to spread their faith.
This is why you started your own faith.
I never thought of it as faith, but I think you are right to call it that. Let the world see. Let them decide what to do. That was my faith. I became a missionary because the gods brought me hope that I wanted to bring to others. For a time, the truth sent me to a dark place. Then the day came when I realized nothing had changed, that I still had a purpose, and the purpose was the same and it was worth living for. I began questioning the other missionaries in public, exposing their parlor tricks. In time, their following became mine.
Just parlor tricks? I'm sure the gods like give you like actual spells that you can do and like heal and all kinds of things like that. How did you discover this?
The Anguithan missionaries all knew it, but they never told the rest of us. They meant it to be a secret that died with them, and in the end, they allowed their bloodlines to fade from memory. I had been assigned to join a few of them at a temple. I found the door to their chambers closed, but the room was stone and the door thin. Their voices carried. I heard enough. I investigated the things they spoke of, and everything was there, just as they said it'd be.
So, why did the gods want to destroy Anguith if they're the ones who created them? Is it because they wanted the secret to die with them? Or was it that the Anguithans wanted the secret to die with them? That's still a little confusing to me. I would think the gods would want that secret. Because so long as everyone's believing in them, they're almighty and powerful and all of that, right? Okay. Later on, after I left the order, a few Anguithans found my words persuasive and joined my cause. They revealed what I did not already know. Is it true what you taught?
You asked me this once before. Nothing I can say would be any proof, and it may be certainty your soul craves. Resolution. But if you are bound for the same place Theos directs these souls, you will see for yourself, as you once did. Everyone faces this truth at one time or another. Few confront it. Few have the stomach to ask what if. And in avoiding the question, they deny themselves an identity of their own.
Yuvara scans her audience in silence, her eyes thoughtful, lingering on each member of your company in turn, finding interest in things unseen.
What if all the tragedy, all the persecution, came in defense of an imposter?
Widewind and Aothas?
That's not... That can't be right. Aothas, he's done miracles for people.
The power of the gods is undeniable. The truth of the story they weave is not. What if it were forbidden knowledge rather than fault that earned your doom? What of your guilt?
I have seen with my own eyes the deceptions of my goddess. The Watcher has shown me as much. But it was not until now that I understood how truly desperate she was. The depths of her deception.
You speak of her deceptions, but what of your own? Was it her words that led you down your path? Or was it the absence of her words? A gap that you filled with your own broken thoughts?
Beads of sweat coalesce on Durance's forehead and trickle down the sides of his face in streaming rivulets, as though he were a block of ice standing before a great pyre.
If all our common threads are spun from a lie, what's left to bind us together?
All of us across Aora are trying to survive, to make sense of the world. What could better bind us together than that struggle? We'll find our own truths. Make them if we must. We don't need an ancient lie to bolster us. United, the Anguithans created gods. Mortal men and women coming together to do the impossible. Let us surpass them.
I agree.
What if neither guide knew the way? How then would you choose a course?
Wild teaches us that the gods cannot give you lasting wisdom. They can only inspire you to find wisdom in your own time.
What if even mastery over all things cannot answer the most basic of questions?
I stopped asking those questions long ago. It is enough to care for those we love with the time we have in this life.
Simple. You feel the weight of Yorvara's translucent eyes upon your soul. What if we can be assured of nothing? Oh, I gotta read all these answers here. Then we had best build our own strength so we can bear it.
It's the trials, Watcher, that make us what we are. Have I not always said so?
Yeah?
Yet strength is not given, but earned, and always in proportion to its cost. What will you sacrifice for yours, and who will pay the toll? I ask these things not to trouble you, but to show why they must be confronted. No answer is simple, but somewhere between them all lies a truth so beautiful, not even a god could conceive it. Do we not owe ourselves a chance to find our part in it?
I don't think it makes much difference either way, because people are that kind of unpredictable, and it's a little beautiful in its own way. But sometimes they'll fabricate a reason just for themselves, and be happy with that lie that they made up.
I often wonder that myself. If things had gone differently, if the world had taken my faith instead of the Anguithin's faith, would it truly be what I had envisioned?
Probably not.
I've been alone here with my thoughts for so long now. I've found peace with my failures and with my punishment. I no longer curse fate for what might have been. But there is one thing that has clawed and scraped at my mind all these years. One thing that will not be put to rest until I know. Until I understand. I need to know why you chose to remain with the Inquisition, even after you'd learned the truth. Do you remember?
I'm afraid of what Theos might do to me if I didn't agree to do it.
Woodica gifted him a great many things, but his ability to manipulate was always his own. Good. Good. The things I taught, the things I believed, I needed to hear that. I needed to know it wasn't because...
Because I doubted you? I needed to know it wasn't because after everything you'd learned, you'd still rather believe in a lie. If that is the conclusion people reach once they know everything, then my purpose has been a mistake. You were naive to be so trusting of people.
You were a blank slate to me once. A blank slate that I had taught the wrong things. I'd given you a false faith. I had to know I could undo what I had done. Redirect you to embrace the truth.
Perhaps.
You had heard both sides, seen everything. If not you, then who?
You're not going to be able to convince everyone of anything, true or not. There will always be dissent.
I expected dissent, but I needed to know that true faith would prevail. Perhaps I've been wrong to place so much importance on one person's actions. It was all I could do to feel like there was an answer. Even knowing what you've told me, some part of me knows it doesn't truly answer what I wished to know, nor will an eternity of silent contemplation. I will have only my guesses and suspicions, and that will have to do. And what of your understanding of our past? Are you at ease with the choice you made?
It wasn't me who made that choice. I bear no responsibility for it.
At first I thought this might be the source of your soul's anguish, but now I see I was mistaken. You are not divided on this matter. You have put it behind you. It is with Theos that your agony lies, in sun and shadow. Your questions are not for me, but for him. And it may be that only an answer from the mouth of Theos himself will satisfy your needs.
Perhaps.
Yet if there is anything I can tell you that would be of use, ask and you shall know.
Why has Theos done all this?
He cares only for the secret he keeps locked away. He destroys anyone who might discover it, no matter their chances. That's why he's always favored Woodica. It isn't in her love of promises or justice. It's her disregard for the rules. Her willingness to do what is necessary. To Theos, she's not a deity, but an ally with which to conspire. When her power waxes, she does as she pleases with this realm, as well as hers. And she wants that secret guarded as much as he. If Theos succeeds, there will be a shift in the balance of power among the gods. Woodica was vanquished once, when the other gods decided she had gone too far, and her power diminished. With this infusion, there is no telling what she will do. The only certainty is that there will be chaos in their realm, as well as ours.
Okay, do you know what it is I need from Theos?
I could not say for sure. But you have been to Sun and Shadow before, and it came at a crossroads in your life, when much of what you knew had been upended. I have to believe it will come to you there. Your concerns then were of loyalty and trust and the gods. Everything I told you seemed to send you further into doubt. His words mattered to you when you knew him then. After you and I spoke, you went immediately to seek him out. Perhaps you simply sought confirmation from the man you trusted. If something from that time still troubles you, it may be something he told you then, or refused to tell you. He keeps secrets better than any in this world.
How can I get to Theos to tell me what I need to know?
You will not find a more resolute being on all of Aeora. There is no offer you could make, nor spell you could cast, nor pain you could inflict that would make him reveal what he hides. But I see you have become a watcher in this life. Perhaps in defeat, when he can no longer defend himself, you might learn something from him.
Well, that's a plan I like. Are you bound here until the end of time?
In a matter of speaking. This is Braeth Yamen, the court of the penitents. Souls are confined here until they repent. They must beg the forgiveness of a god, pledge their soul to them, and they will be lifted from this place to the world above. In truth, they receive leniency, but not true mercy. The spite of Woodica is eternal. They linger above, at the side of the old court, and are not permitted to leave the island, forever severed from the cycle. This prison was full once in the days of the Inquisition, but time weathers all things, even will. I'm the only tenant who remains. Yet, I feel their presence strongly now, as it was in the beginning. You have brought many of them here. They cry out for the judgment of Theos. You have struck some bargain with the gods, then.
I'm using the gods to further my own ends.
They aid you because they would bend you to their own purposes. Engwith built gods from ideals, and an ideal on its own is a grotesque and vicious thing. But these souls, these forgiven the gods have bequeathed you like chattel. They were loyal followers in life. They will be with you to the very end.
Why don't you repent? You could be free of this place.
Last time someone asked me that, I was bound to an iron wheel with a broken spine. There are many things I've come to doubt about the choices I made in life. But that trial was my one moment of certainty, even without a chorus of gods to tell me I had been right. The gods need to be reminded that we have a spirit, and that spirit is proof against their power. They have the power to manipulate and confuse and ruin us, but not to change our will. I will remain here until the world crumbles and fades from existence, with joy in my heart, knowing I've shown them what they truly are. Theos will not wait for you. If you do not catch up to him now, you may never find him again.
Goodness gracious. The gods have given me the souls of their forgiven. If you repent, you could join with them. Help me strike the final blow against Theos.
If I repent, all I have done has meant nothing.
Well, then I will waste no more time. Farewell, Yovara.
For my part in leading you to Theos in the very beginning, I hope you can forgive me. I hope whatever final guidance I've given you here proves more useful.
Let us hope.
If ever we should meet again, in this life or any other, I hope to find you at peace.
And same to you. I suppose this time I'll be the one to deal justice with my own two hands. One to receive the blessings of Bareth, and the other to punch Theos in the head. This is Master Bark of Brian Recording signing off.